Make yourself a better guitar player with the Home Depot TV commercial theme song. Ever since the first time I heard this, I thought it was really captivating. I still see they're using that same music today, and I still love it. I was able to look it up on iTunes even and learn it from there. But I don't want to just show you how to play this so you can, make it sound like you know what you're doing. I want to teach you something so you understand what you're doing, much like a parrot can imitate a phrase or something, but it doesn't know what it's saying. I want you to be able to know what you're saying. So in light of that, and with that in mind, this song, or this little riff thing, is in the key of A. When I think of a key, you can think of it like colors, and like this, the color or key of this guitar is brown, for example. You'll notice that there's lighter and darker shades of brown, and there are higher and lower versions of the note A on your guitar. There's numerous octaves of the same note. An octave is simply when your eardrum vibrates twice as fast as it did before, or half as fast as it did before. It ends up kind of being the sonic equivalent of a lighter shade of the same color. So, with that said, we have 8 notes in this phrase, this little riff. 5 of the 8 notes are the note A. That's crazy. So many note A's. That's one giveaway of telling what key a song is in. The other one is when the song starts, or the little phrase starts and ends, starts and or ends on the note A. This one does both. Starts on the note A and ends on the note A. It's picked all with down picks, and here's how it goes. You play the A string twice. It's the 5th string. Then you play the D string open, then back to the A string. Then the C note, the 3rd fret of the A string, before you play the open A string again. Then the G note, which is directly below or on top of, depending how you look at it. The G note is the 6th string at the 3rd fret. Then you play another A note, but this time instead of playing the open A string, you jump to the higher octave A, which is the 2nd fret of the G string. If I just went to the regular A note, see, it works, but it just doesn't have that cool, catchy it factor to it. So they also, you can hear kind of, if you listen real closely in the mix, it sounds like they're playing these same notes in a higher octave, kind of underneath. The volume's a little lower than the low octave ones. And those notes on the higher strings are this. Much harder to play. It's kind of in the background. If you had a one guitar band, you're going to play this lower version. You're not going to try to play the higher one instead of the low one. If you have 2 guitars, great, you can play both of them. If I'm playing this with one guitar, it kind of helps a little bit. It's a lot harder to do, and it helps it sound a little bit better to play the very last A note with the higher octave A note, 5th fret of the skinny string. So if I play the 2nd fret of the G string here, the 3rd string, and play the 5th fret of the skinny string here, those are both A notes, an octave apart. Just like these 2 browns, or however many browns there are here, are lighter and darker versions of the same thing. These 2 guys are the same version of the same note, or the different version of the same note. So I like to do that, and if you're going to do that and you're going to play both of these at the same time, what I do is take my pick here on the G string, pick down, and I kind of take my ring finger and pull up. I kind of squeeze my 2 fingers together to pluck both those notes. It's a little bit together and a little bit more out than together. So there's a little bit of squeezing together, but most of it is pulling away from the string. The other thing that I find that I had to experiment a little bit with was how much open sound I have to the string. In other words, no palm muting versus a lot of palm muting. Sounds the best with just a little bit of palm muting. So I'm going to touch, but I'm not going to press too hard. And that seems to capture the best tone for that one, just a light palm mute. So again, a palm mute is when your palm touches the strings, basically just a little bit ahead of the bridge. So if you're too far back, they're going to ring open. If you're too far forward, they're going to block the whole note. They get more more muted out. So you got to find the sweet spot for that, okay? That's called a palm mute. The other thing, I'm using a Spark practice amp for this one. I am using a single coil setting on the humbucker pickup here. I tapped this guy. When I tap it, it becomes a single coil tone. It's a little cleaner, and that way the notes can grab your ear a little better. I know Led Zeppelin used to do this a lot with Jimmy Page. He would record his stuff on like a Telecaster, and then of course when he played live, he'd use a Gibson Les Paul. Anyway, getting off track here. I'm using a Spark practice amp for this one. I set and used, I think it's a Vox AC30 amp simulator. I put a little bit of Tube Screamer distortion on there, and I used a little bit of reverb, and I have a delay setting that's set to the tap function. So it reads the tempo that I'm playing in, and it kind of matches that with the echo. You can kind of hear it bouncing back at you. So with a little reverb and that bouncy echo, kind of captures the right tone of this one. I think that's all we have to go over for this one. Let me know how this works out for you, if you enjoy playing it, if it was easy to learn, what your thoughts are about it. I love to hear your feedback. And if you're getting something out of this, you're learning something from this, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you.